So you want to start making YouTube videos with your Fujifilm camera. Well, there's a couple of things you need to know. The first one is you need to be orange. Why, you may ask? Because it's cool. It's called color grading. I go nuts for the LUTs. The second thing you need for your YouTube videos is a baseball cap, because if you make YouTube videos, you probably are wearing a baseball cap. Actually, you're probably wearing it backwards. Why? Because it's cool, dummy. It's cool. Third, you'll need to play some music over everything you're saying, because people love that. They love that. So basically when you're talking about stuff, got it? All right, once you have all that figured out, you can decide which lens you want to use for video. So for the most part, you may have the kit lens, which is what I have now. Now the kit lens is a great place to start. Couple of reasons. One, it has image stabilization. So if the videos you're gonna make are not only on a tripod, but you're gonna walk around, you have that flexibility of image stabilization. That also holds true for my favorite lens so far, the 10 to 24 millimeter. This also has image stabilization as well. So if you're thinking about doing hybrid video where you're walking around and vlogging, the kit lens 18 to 55 and also this 10 to 24 are my quick recommendations. Now, quick thing to note, this is an f4 all the way through the range, all the way from 10 to 24. But the kit lens, if you zoom it in, it goes from a 2.8 to an f4. So the image just got darker. And uglier. So you notice if I zoom back out to 18, it brightens up. So that's something to think about is you have to, when you zoom into a new focal length, like right now the aperture is at 3.6, I have to change my ISO and boost it up a little bit to get the right exposure. So a variable aperture lens sometimes is a little bit of a pain for, changing on the fly. All right, let's play with the kit lens. Let's look at the kit lens at 18 millimeters, which is what it is right now. Okay, here I am at 35 millimeters with the kit lens at 3.6 aperture, and you get a little bit of blurry backgrounds you see back there. Okay, so now I zoomed the lens to 55, so you get good compression now. So this is a good way to do head videos as well, or interview videos. So now for comparison, I'm gonna switch this out and put on the 56 millimeter 1.2 to see the difference between the two. Okay, look at this. This is the 56 millimeter 1.2 lens. Can you believe? So this looks a lot more cinematic, a lot prettier because I have the 56 millimeter set to 1.2, the widest aperture. Just be careful at 1.2 if you're close to the lens, your lens is gonna kind of, oh my gosh, look at this rolling shutter. Now, if you're filming close to the lens, which I do not recommend, notice I got closer to the light source and I'm brighter now. Let me lower this. Now it looks really cool, but be careful at filming at 1.2 because your focus is always trying to pinpoint. So you could be talking and moving around and your viewer is going to be distracted because the lens continues to try to grab focus. So although 1.2 is beautiful, just know the closer you are to the lens, the more narrow that depth of field is, so the lens keeps fighting. If you're gonna shoot at 1.2, you might wanna back up, which makes the depth of field a little bit bigger. And so the lens can lock on and you can talk and still have pretty bokeh without the lens going 56, 1.2, that's buttery soft. Rolling shutter. All right, here's 35 millimeter f2, looks delicious, looks buttery back there, looks really nice. Now having the f2 is great, it lets you reduce your ISO so you get cleaner video files. Okay, here's the 35 millimeter at f8. You could see you still kind of get bokeh in the background. You don't have to be at f2. This also makes your lens work less hard because the depth of field is greater. So the chances of your focus wavering is minimal. And that's actually really distracting for people who watch your YouTube videos for your focus to go in and out. Like when you put your hand up and you're like, and you're like, and you're like, and you're like, Sorry. Okay, now this is 16 millimeters on the 10 to 24, and 16 millimeters is a nice, like if you got a cool studio, I really don't, but this is my home office here. But if you have a cool space and you want to show it off, 16 millimeters, which is the equivalent of a 24, is great to do videos. Here I am getting closer, also at 16 millimeters. But I can still see the doors and all that junk back there. That's a little distracting. So if you have the 16 millimeter 1.4, okay, here's the 16 millimeter 1.4. 1.4 is so bright for this window that I have that I actually have to cheat on shutter speed, which totally is fine as long as you don't move around too much. If you're not moving in your videos, you don't get that weird judder that they call. But now again, the closer you get to your subject, I don't want to get too close to you, but the closer you get, the more blurry the background gets. So you could be like a crazy annoying, sorry for the egghead up in your face. Still don't think it's as versatile as the 10-24, but if it's a look you're going for, especially if you're close up like this, it looks cinematic, it looks really pretty. 16 is like butter. Let's try the Rokinon 12mm. This is a manual focus lens, but let's see how it looks compared to the 16mm 1.4. Oh, you gotta focus, you gotta focus. Okay, you could do all your YouTube videos like this and just freak people out. All right, so the Rokinon looks really cool. So here's the 12mm f4 if you wanna make videos, and they look really cool, really dramatic at 12mm, and they don't distort that much, you know, unless you're, you know, even in the corner, not too bad. So they make any room and space look great, but as a manual focus lens, you just have to make sure that you are focused, and if your eyes are bad, it's not so great. But the Rokinon, I love the Rokinon 12mm, one for its price, but two, it doesn't distort so crazy. So it actually gives a nice normal look for video. And for these talking heads, it's great if you need the space. So 12mm, let's put it next to the 16mm so we can see what the two look like. It's a good budget option if you don't mind manually focusing. And if you really need the background to go blurry, you put your big egghead super close up like this. We're gonna, hi there. That's kind of cool. This is a cool look. No one does this. You could totally be, tell me down in the comments if someone is like super wide like this all the time. Now, of course, if you need wider, the 10mm to 24 is even better. You can see I'm super close up to the camera here. And, you know, again, I like this look. This is kind of like cockpit look. The cool thing about this lens is it has image stabilization, and you can also go 24 like this. And so now you have a totally normal looking video lens at 24mm f4. You still have bokeh in the background. So you could do talking head videos like this. And I think handheld, this guy is the best around 14, which is about here. This would be about handheld sort of distance. And even that is normal. So the 10-24 is like the perfect, if you want to show people your environment like GoPro, or if you want to like zoom in and do like, you know, get all serious right there and talk to people into their soul. So to me, this 10-24 is a winner for its image stabilization, for its variety of focal lengths for this video. I don't, you know, even though the 50 looks cool, it's really annoying to be, this is how, I'll show you how far I was when I was filming with the 50mm. I was kind of like over here to get the 50mm to work, which is kind of annoying. So I like to be near the camera controls in case I need to like fix things and stuff. So for YouTube videos, I recommend kind of like a wide lens where you stay close, especially if you have your microphone on top. I'm using a lav mic, so that's no big deal. But if you use a microphone right on top, I recommend the 10-24 for video. There's one more I want to try. And let's try this cheapy manual focus 22mm from Zonlai. Full focus lens. Wow. Okay, this is at 1.8 with the Zonlai. Doing video with the Zonlai, again, if you're living at 1.8, you got to be careful because you'll be out of focus. There's only a sliver of things in focus. But you could back up. You also could put it at, well, let's leave it at 1.8 so you could see the background bokeh. And increase my ISO to 320, and I will focus right about there. And that looks pretty good. Again, the good thing about a manual focus lens is the camera doesn't go crazy trying to find focus. You don't get any noise into any audio equipment. Let's compare that to the kit lens at 22-ish. Ooh, kit lens at 22. You get image stabilization, you get a little bit of bokeh. It looks totally fine. No one's gonna notice. So you can use the kit lens to do your videos. And this is at 23mm. You can't get as wide maybe as you want to, like if you want to show, you know, your whole scene as dramatic as the 10-24 or the Rokinon. This is about as wide as it gets at 18, but really good and really versatile if you want to do things that are close up. Ugh, too close. And it allows you to stay close to the camera, so you can do videos, you know, and talk to your audience that you love. Which would you use for your video? And don't forget, do it right.